think we've got a decent guy who's Prime Minister, and he just needs to get on with the job. And the parliamentary party needs to show some determination.
There's a vacancy in Cabinet following the sacking of Nadeem Zahawi as Conservative Party chairman. Lots of speculation about who should or shouldn't replace him. William Hague quickly ruled himself out. But what does the job actually involve? Well, let's speak to someone who's been there and done that. Lord Pickles, Eric Pickles, who held the role in the run-up to the 2010 election, a pretty crucial time for the Conservative Party going into an election campaign. And joins me now. Morning, Eric.
Hey, very good morning to you.
Sum up, if someone's thinking of dusting off their CV, for you, what does the job of being Conservative Party chairman involve?
Well, in the run-up to a general election, it's exciting. It's probably one of the best jobs in British politics. A year later, after the election's over, it's probably one of the worst. It's one of the most miserable jobs you can possibly have. If you come to election, there's lots of glamour, lots of things to do, lots of things to make sure you get the machines ready for the election. Every day is exciting. After the election, when you're party chairman, a new government's been formed. Every day is as dull as dishwater.
And that's because the process of gearing up for an election, and the closer we get to an election, things become more political. So it goes sort of through Conservative HQ rather than through Number 10. You've got rallies and leaflets to get out and people to mobilise. But then after the election, it all goes back to Downing Street again, and you're sort of twiddling your thumbs waiting for some local elections to come along.
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Or if things go particularly badly, you'll have a parliamentary by-election to sort out. And governments tend to be very unpopular in the first few years of after an election, so you're going to have to face losing a few colleagues. So it's not much fun. And also after an election, you've geared up for one. You've probably overstaffed, and people are leaving. People are being made redundant, and I mean, after the problems of the 2017 elections, I did a report to the Conservative Party as how we might be able to improve our election chances. Made 127 recommendations, some of which were implemented, most of which have been forgotten.
And what would you be doing? Because it was sort of in the, 18 months, possibly 2 years to the general election. Sort of in the tipping point now where being Conservative Party chairman starts getting interesting. Nadeem Zahawi's vacated that role. What's the sort of person that Rishi Sunak, maybe you've got someone in mind, maybe you want to throw your hat into the ring, but who's the sort of person that Rishi Sunak should be looking for?
In terms of my chances to misquote P.G. Woodhouse, wild horses on their bending knees are their most persuasive, would not to get me to go back into the doors of. Not that I didn't have a great time. I had a very good time. And I had lots of good people. I mean, I was pleased to be appointed by David Cameron, particularly because I didn't vote for him in the leadership elections, and that's an important point. You actually need somebody that you're absolutely 100% certain will protect your back and will. Has no leadership ambitions themselves, because being able to control the machinery, to be the principal contact between the voluntary party and also members of parliament puts you in a very strong position should you desire to do some damage.
And as party chairman, do you get to pick and choose where the money goes? Who gets money for the election campaign, or who gets extra and who doesn't?
Well, I was kind of fortunate because I say fortunate. I had Michael Ashcroft, Lord Ashcroft, as my deputy, which I had a degree of trepidation initially, but I have to say he was as good as gold and was a joy to work with. So we already had a marginal team, marginal seats team ready, and we were quite ruthless in terms of making sure that we put money into where we thought we were going to be able to win. I did have some discretion. I needed to divert some money to a couple of seats, which I'm pleased to say I did win.
And on the debate of, is this 1992 and 1997, part of the reason why the idea of William Hague having the job got up was because he told, he addressed Chequers last week and said, well, remember 1992 when the Tories won unexpectedly. Where were you on that debate? How bad are things for the Conservatives? Is it 1992 and they could sneak a win? Is it 1997 they're heading for historic defeat?
My message is loud and clear. It's not the 90s. Don't look for political analogies. You've got to decide whether you want to win. And the only way you're going to win is if you show a degree of competence and a degree of unity and a degree of determination. And every time a backbencher, no matter how distinguished, or a minister in private says, "Oh, we've had it, we have no chance," then that's just a nail in the coffin. My own view is it's still there. I don't think the desire for Labour is that strong. It's a Conservative Party that is the problem, and I think we've got a decent guy who's Prime Minister, and he just needs to get on with the job. And the Parliamentary Party needs to show some determination.
Is that going to be enough, though? Is competence, unity, and determination enough? Because
it's better than what we've currently got. Currently got you find ministers saying all kinds of things to the press, and I think he's a decent guy, and I think he should get on with it.
And who do you think he should give the party chairman job to, if not you?
It's definitely not me. It's a difficult. I think Penny's probably the front runner currently.
Penny Mordaunt,
Greg Hands, I think, is a very good campaigner. But whatever you've got, it's got to be somebody that the public can get along with. I mean, as party chairman, you have to be the guy or the girl out front. I'm a fairly moderate and reasonable person, but I find myself taking fairly solid extreme views as party chairman. And indeed, that's originally someone like Chris Patten would find themselves mouthing things that you wouldn't normally say.
Well, Chris Patten, of course, managed to orchestrate that election win in 1992 and then lost his own seat, so it doesn't always work out, even if you are party chairman. Eric Pickles, Lord Pickles, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Good to speak to you. Lifting the lid on what it takes to be Conservative Party chairman.